Can world-renowned artist Red Hong Yi use the Chase mobile app to pay practically anyone at any bank, all while creating a masterpiece made of tea leaves? Yes, but this isn't for just anyone. It's for the strongest man in her life. Life lived Red's way. Chase, make more of what's yours.
This Geico ad is intended only for people who grew up in the 80s.
Renting VHS tapes is dope.
So is saving money with Geico.
And their 24/7 access to licensed agents is totally fresh.
Word.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
When two of the best teams in all of the land meet in Tallahassee, you get this type of crowd. The parking garage is filled to the brim. Inside the Seminole Soccer Complex also filled up. The Noles had over 3,300 against the Gators last week. You got to imagine this is pretty close. This is approaching 3,000 at least, as fans have again been filing behind the goalposts and behind the net. So far, Florida State and North Carolina, they've given them some opportunities, but maybe it's been the missed opportunities that have been the biggest difference.
And in particular for Florida State, they just have not been able to get the ball on net as many times as they would probably like. This is the best chance. Anna Patton on the corner by Castellanos. And then even here, Dallas Dorsey, you got to put that ball probably on the far side. Here's the goal, though, by Rachel Jones. Excellent feed from Russo. Just kisses it off the post. Easy goal, free, past Anna Patton. And that's what gives the Tar Heels the 1-0 lead after the first 45 minutes of play.
The Seminoles and the Heels, looking at the numbers as how they break down, it's been Florida State with more shots. No shots on goal, though, for the Noles. The one shot on goal for Carolina found the back of the net, and then 11 combined fouls. What we expected, a physical matchup. No cards yet, but I imagine that's coming pretty soon.
It could. It very well could. But for Florida State, this has been a little bit of a problem and a nuisance for them. They have not been able to put as many balls on the net as they would have probably liked. They have dominated possession all season long. They've had a lot of shots, but a lot of them have not really had a chance at the net and to score a goal. They've got to figure that out here in the last 45 if they want to have a shot first to equalize and hopefully for them to come out victorious.
The Seminoles are undefeated so far this season, but trailing 1-0 to North Carolina. Halftime continues in Tallahassee after this.
Can world-renowned artist Red Hong Yi use the Chase mobile app to pay practically anyone at any bank, all while creating a masterpiece made of tea leaves? Yes, but this isn't for just anyone. It's for the strongest man in her life. Life lived Red's way. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Where are Mom and Dad?
Save money on motorcycle insurance with Geico going up the country. Love, Mom and Dad.
Geico Motorcycle. Great rates for great rides.
Our thoughts and prayers are with those right now on the coasts of the Carolinas, both North Carolina and South Carolina. As Florence is no joke. It started as a Category 4 hurricane in the Atlantic, making its way over as a Category 1. Now it's down to tropical storm, but this has been a tragedy already, multiple reported casualties and deaths. And you look at these things, we're used to this in Florida, but it's really impacted the Carolinas, who don't get them as frequent. UNC, of course, canceling classes in the middle of the week. Pretty much every soccer and football game in the Carolinas has been moved around, canceled, or adjusted to later in the season. And, of course, you can help in any way you can, but especially by visiting redcross.org to donate to these fellow Americans and then helping out Trevor.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Aria, for Florida, we certainly see it a heck of a lot more potentially than other parts of the United States. But of course, I think I speak for you and our entire crew. Our hearts and prayers go out to the entire southeast region who is being affected, of course, in North Carolina. And I think a special commendability to Rick Scott, the governor of Florida, sending a lot of power trucks up to the North Carolina, South Carolina region. These people do an amazing job trying to get people reestablished with their lives, bringing power, energy, food, water, whatever they can do to really get people back to, a positive way of thinking and to get their lives back in track. So good job on the state of Florida, and we hope the best for everybody in the southeast region.
We hope you've evacuated, but if you have not and still have power in your home, we hope that this broadcast is able to get you through the storm just a little bit. Halftime continues.
You build me up, then you let me down. Nothing new in the same old thing.
You can do and you can say anything you want, but everything that you do, make it what you want.
A warm night in Tallahassee. You got Seminoles supporting Seminoles as members of the Florida State volleyball team out at the Seminole Soccer Complex. It's 1-0 North Carolina here at the half. The 6th-ranked Tar Heels leading the number 2-ranked Seminoles. And while Florence has caused havoc on the coast, we obviously want everyone to be kept safe. It's going to make a wrench in the plans of scheduling things in the future. ACC soccer this weekend being affected. The Eagles and the Deacons. Virginia Tech, that's a rivalry out in Blacksburg that has been postponed. Louisville and Pittsburgh will be playing on Sunday, and Clemson able to get their game in against Miami. I was told earlier that Florida State's game against Notre Dame has actually been moved up a day so that they can accommodate some of these reschedulings. That game was in 2 weeks. It's supposed to be on a Friday. They moved it up to a Thursday. The ACC, status quo, one of the best conferences in soccer. Florida State number 2, and then UVA, UNC, Duke, and NC State. 9 wins for the conference over the top 25, 72% winning percentage, and 7 players on the Mack Hermann Trophy watch list. It's been the ACC and the Pac-12. And tonight you've got 2 of the best teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference ready for the second half. They are just moments away. It's the Heels and the Noles. We'll have an answer coming up in the second half.
The Infiniti QX50's revolutionary VC turbo engine has the power of a V6 and the efficiency of a 4-cylinder.
How did Germany not do that first?
Well, if you can't beat them. The all-new 2019 Infiniti QX50. There's nothing traditional about it.
The capital city of the Sunshine State. There's the look of the capital. It's Florida State and North Carolina getting ready for the second half. Mark Krikorian and Anson Dorrance's squad. A gritty first half for both teams. Florida State with 6 shots, UNC with 4, but it's been the Tar Heels' only goal of the game on their only shot on frame all game that's been the difference. And these two teams, as has been the case the last few years, the top 2 in the preseason coaches poll, North Carolina picked to win it. Florida State picked to finish second. Interestingly enough, though, Florida State had more first-place votes by the ACC coaches than North Carolina did, but the point total system gave Carolina the edge, and this game always impacts the ACC tournament and those standings, and then, of course, always impacts NCAA tournament standings.
Yeah, for who wants the home field and who wants to just represent the ACC, one of the strongest conferences out there in women's soccer across the country. A lot of pride on the line. Certainly, you want to go out and this is the game both of these squads have marked, I think, especially with how good Florida State's been the last decade. UNC certainly recognizes that, and they've come in here in these first 45 minutes as we get things kicked off with an edge and an aggressiveness that is really won over Florida State.
Andrzejewski taking one off the face. Able to race down is Brooke Bollinger. He got a shot there in the opening sequences of the half of Samantha Leshnak, who's back in the net. So for the first time all season, Anson Dorrance elects to keep his first half keeper in the game. A whistle and a handball is Otto guilty. But Dorrance staying with Leshnak, first time all year he's let her do that.
Yeah, he recognizes that Dickey needs to get some time, of course, knowing that she's going to probably be the keeper for the next several years. But in a game of this magnitude with conference stakes on the line, you got to put in who's the best keeper that gives you the best chance to win. And certainly Leshnak has earned that by starting every match.
McFarland got a foot on that one, not able to direct it towards goal. Leshnak has no issues. Leshnak in her 36th game is a Tar Heel. 13 shutouts in her career, including one last season. The 1-0 win over Florida State right here in Tallahassee. Nearly gives the ball away. McFarland, though, coming back from offside, and she knew it.
Yeah, had to work back fast if she wanted a chance at the ball, but Tillman knocking that down really didn't give McFarland any sort of shot. Couldn't control the ball. And go right back to UNC.
Two of the all-time great coaches in college soccer going at it tonight. Mark Krikorian and Anson Dorrance. McFarland finds Tillman. Tillman a little impatient with that, and Carl not able to get onto it. But Krikorian has said that he seeks Dorrance's counsel. These are two coaches. It's very common in all sports. The best coaches in the game, they do talk, and they love to pick each other's brains on what works and what doesn't, especially not just on tactics, but opponents that teams have faced as they get into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they just have mutual respect for one another, I think, is what starts that. You know, understanding where they've come from and the respect and the pedigree they've earned over those last several years. Of course, for Dorrance, 40 years of history with UNC alone just speaks for itself, and what Krikorian has done for FSU, turning them into an every-year power team and a force to be reckoned with. Just goes to show that the ideas are certainly going to bounce off one another to talk about how much success they've had.
UNC throw in to the displeasure of the thousands here in the stands. UNC now, Andrzejewski finds some space. Bollinger comes up, ball still loose. Still in danger and finally cleared away. Bollinger. Oh, she's lucky there.
Andrzejewski could have had a shot at the net before it got to Bollinger. She's going to charge a little harder, maybe got it past her, but a little nerves right there from the redshirt freshman in Bollinger. Andrzejewski certainly got a foot in there, though, to kind of make Bollinger, kind of tighten that grip a little bit, and the ball slips out.
Pinto now from about 20 yards will have a go, deflected. Dangerous position again. The Heels earn a corner kick.
Sometimes if you're on the road and maybe you have a one-goal advantage, you have the lead in the second half, maybe you die it down a little bit, you try to play keep away. That's just not the style of the Tar Heels. Number 6 in the country with how many national championships they've earned and won. They understand what it takes to win, and that's by continuing to put the pedal to the metal.
Lotta Wubben-Moy, a low drive, intercepted. McFarland has nobody in attack, and now Florida State will have to build. Tillman, if she's able to turn, she's not. She had Carl running wide open on the right flank.
Castellanos up the middle as well, calling for the ball.
McFarland, a little clumsy with the ball, loses it, but still loose as The Tar Heel went down.
Yeah, McFarland a little out of position. Normally you see her up top, and working back to the ball for others to build for her.
Again, Florida State just not technically clean tonight. In the final third, they're not able to really possess the ball the way they have.
Now, with a quality team like UNC, if you're just even the slightest bit off, they're too experienced, they're too knowledgeable, they're too skilled for you to get away with mistakes like that. And you're not going to get the opportunities, and you're not going to be able to build the way you want.
Carolina's work rate tonight from all its players has been outstanding. Forwards are getting back to help in defense, getting up the field when they have to. It's been a very organized performance from North Carolina so far. Nothing flashy, but together as one unit, they've been able to build a lead so far, 1-0. Tillman and McFarland run into each other. Florida State just discombobulated so far here in the second half.
And when you don't have the amount of possessions that FSU is used to having, you're gonna, those mistakes still happen, and you're not going to get the chances to come back. But a nice job by Pavlisko charging up.
Pavlisko taking it on herself, one-on-one. Strong defending by the Tar Heels. Balser says it was clean.
Well, nice job by Kuika, though, to intercept.
Now Kuika finds some space.
Running right back up the left side.
And perhaps Florida State's going to have to put the pedal to the metal and not try and build slowly out of the back. Take those pockets of space and try and exploit them as they come in the counter. Carl drives left, trying to beat her man off the dribble. She's cut off by Otto beautifully. Throw in for Florida State. An aggressive game as we expected. Trevor Pavlisko driving the ball about 50 yards up the field herself, and then a hard tackle, but a clean tackle there. Lotta Wubit-Moy able to dispossess Florida State.
As that free kick goes, or that pass or that cross goes wide right. Absolutely, it was a clean tackle and very aggressive fall by Pavlisko. As she obviously came in with a lot of speed, and you get dispossessed like that and you trip even the slightest, it may look so nasty that maybe the defender had something to do with it, but right there, pretty clean tackle and a good no call.
McFarland, first touch lets her down, but the aggressiveness and the effort leads to possession. Now Castellanos a step slow.
Jones coming up nicely, job from behind.
And Jones is playing forward. I'm telling you what, these Tar Heels have committed to a plan and they've all stuck to it excellent.
Well, they're not just good at their own positions, they're very flexible, they're very versatile as well. I mean, you look at a Taylor Otto alone. When we were talking to Coach Durant, I mean, he said she can play all three levels. She can play all three positions, and she's usually up top, but they've got her in the middle today. They're just so flexible and versatile. They all, as you said, commit to one purpose and to as one team to come away victorious, and that's what just makes UNC so hard to defeat.
Andrzejewski looking for Russo. Russo's had a quiet night so far in the middle.
But she is one of the main reasons why they have that goal. Feeding Rachel Jones on the run.
Fox, now Pinto. Little 1-2 between the duo. Castellanos getting down and dirty. She fires it up ahead.
Very nice sliding tackle. Maybe FSU wants to incorporate that long ball a little bit. It's really been difficult for them to really run through the middle tonight. North Carolina working very well in numbers and marking, doing a nice job maintaining the one-on-one battles. Maybe if you find something, if you turn the ball over, you get a quick run by somebody like a Castellanos, maybe if Villalobos comes off the bench or a Zhao, maybe they can make UNC pay.
Krikorian wanted to find a way to dictate the tempo in this game and enjoy some possession in UNC's half. They have not been able to do that tonight. Kuika up ahead, now McFarland. And again, her first touch letting her down.
Yeah, she's had a tough time and struggled knocking and trapping the ball. on pretty fast and long passes.
Now another ball ahead. Russo down the right side, speed on display. Bollinger there, near post. Nice distribution from Bollinger. Now Berkeley.
That's another poor pass. Berkeley's been a little off tonight, too. She's usually sure-footed and a very crisp passer, but a couple times in the second half right there where she just missed the mark to Zhao.
You don't get the feeling Florida State's been very crisp at all as a team.
And that's just what North Carolina brings. In every game, at least that we've seen, Aria, FSU has been able to really dictate pace. They really have not been challenged and really haven't had an opponent battle them for the ball in their own half. UNC does that, and they make them work to get to the levels that they want to get to, and by the time they try to build to that final part, they just haven't been able to establish that and be crisp enough in the end.
The only other team this season that we've covered so far, Trevor, that's been similar in style, probably USC. But Florida State's defense was able to keep the Trojans off the score sheet in that one. Similar game styles, though.
But in saying that, FSU still had 18 shots. I mean, FSU only has 7 as we have about 30 minutes or so left in this match. So UNC has done the best job against Florida State's attack by far this season. Denying them chances, denying them quality possession time, or at least in a quantity amount, for sure.
The Gators obviously also sticking to a game plan that tried to limit Florida State's offensive opportunities, but I think it's safe to say that the Tar Heels have a little bit more attacking talent than Florida was able to show on Friday night. Rachel Jones, her first career goal so far, has been the difference. Part of a lineup change that has seen her move into the lineup, and Alessia Russo moving to center forward. Now another great ball, Bailey. Bumped away by Patton. And that's what Dorrance said that they learned on the West Coast. He said, we suffered, we took our knocks and lost twice. We paid the price, but we found out a lineup that we think is going to work for us and something we're excited about going forward.
And sometimes, and the saying goes, you learn a lot more from your losses than you do your victories. And that's where this is kind of a blessing in disguise when you lose a couple times like UNC has against very good quality opponents, no less. Certainly nothing you can really, put your head down in shame about. But it makes you better, it makes you stronger, and that's kind of what they've learned, and they're putting that together in this match against the number 2 team in the country. But of course, Dorrance, being as experienced as he has for as many years as he's coached, he knows all the tricks in the book.
Villalobos checks in for Yuji Zhao. And it's been that strong non-conference scheduling that both of these programs have embodied and embraced. Anson Dorrance saying that that's what he appreciated about Mark Krikorian when he first came into the league as the head coach of Florida State, was that he felt like other ACC coaches were so focused on getting W's that nobody wanted to play tough competition and perhaps risk the loss. Krikorian, though, has done that this season, obviously. North Carolina's always done that, and I think now the ACC's followed suit, and that's why the RPIs are so high.
And I believe it speaks to a not being afraid of failure, not being afraid to take a loss and really challenge and drive yourself to where eventually you could be that top squad that you want to be. And that's what you have to admire about both these coaches, but especially Mark Krikorian in the last several years, building FSU up.
Offside the call as Fox was making a run down the left side. And again, another poor pass by Florida State.
Well, also a lack of awareness by Tillman right there. She turned her head upfield, didn't realize the ball was coming her way, and didn't act upon it.
And Tillman, just by judging the body language, looks a little tired. And this one, you wonder if Krikorian sees that as well and will make a substitution. But Tillman breathing a little heavy, a little slower moving to the ball right now. And now coming into the game is Bergau.
It's a challenge. I mean, you look at UNC's midfield alone. I mean, you got Otto, you got Bailey alone. I mean, that's a lot of wealth of experience and skill amongst those 2 players alone. It's challenging for FSU's midfield.
Pinto strong against Patton. She takes the ball away.
Yeah, FSU just hasn't been pushed like this. Not one time all season.
And the game plan from North Carolina exceptionally effective. Stopping Florida State's attack and then diagonal runs and using the speed to create. It's already led to 1 goal by Rachel Jones. Her first as a Carolina Tar Heel in her career. Another offside is Russo getting caught behind the Seminole defense.
It just speaks to the commitment that Anson Durrance has for his squad and working all phases of the game. Not just offense, because that can be an easy part for players, you know, wanting to score goals, putting your team up ahead. The commitment you have on the defensive side as well, attacking and wanting that ball back, wanting to win and disrupting that opportunity for your opponent to come away with the score. That's the desire that UNC has had for 40 years, and it's why they've had those 21 national championships in Division I.
Tillman in the center of the field. Drops it back to Howell. Howell has had 6 shots in her last 2 games as this slipped through too heavy for Bergal.
That's a very good angle, very good pass by Villalobos, and she kind of needed to put all of that weight into that pass to get it through. Just missing the mark.
Kimball in for Fox. Arya Masudi and Trevor DeGroat, our ACC Network Extra crew from Tallahassee. Top 10 soccer, number 2 Florida State, number 6 North Carolina. The Tar Heels able to get out of the state of North Carolina down here before Florence hit the coast. Pinto has her ball deflected by Berkeley. And Florida State's been great hosts for North Carolina this weekend. The Heels still do try and plan to leave tomorrow, whether that's on a plane or busing. Dorrance and the program want to get out of Tallahassee if they can.
Yeah, they obviously had that West Coast road trip and were only able to spend a couple more days in North Carolina at Chapel Hill before making the trip over here to Tallahassee. So they certainly want to be home in their own beds and their own homes.
Villalobos has her pass sniffed out. As good thing for the Tar Heels is they play Pitt on September 20th. So they'll have a few days to readjust and get ready for soccer next week. Strong shot, side of the net.
Well, there's that powerful strike on display that we alluded to.
My goodness, Alessia Russo.
By Russo, absolutely. On the run. Gap was closing, but my goodness, she could certainly turn, shoot, drive that ball off the side of the net. Bollinger, though, excellent positioning. Certainly not taking anything for chance and letting that ball go by.
Russo, an All-ACC first-team member last season, second-team All-American, and she enters the year on the Matt Herman watch list. She's struggled a little bit, though, this season finding the back of the net. And like Kristen McFarland, though, you have the feeling once she finds a single time, the floodgates will open. Alessia Russo is one of the most talented players in the country and well on her way to joining the English team national team, the senior national team ranks.
And you can even say the same thing for FSU's Dana Castellanos. While she does have a goal, it's only 1 goal, and she's had more opportunities to play this season with FSU and her team. So a couple of these top Herman watch list contenders, not exactly lighting up the scoreboard, but I think that's okay because, it speaks to the teamwork I think both of these teams have and how many different threats you can have, and it keeps people guessing. It's ultimately about the team and how you make your team better.
Bergal looking for Patton. And again, Florida State's just been one step too slow all night. UNC has been comfortable with dropping back just a little bit, but as soon as Florida State enters within 30 yards of the net, the pressure intensifies. And the Noles have not handled that well tonight, struggling to put 2 and 3 passes together in a row. Perhaps it's an individual effort. A moment of magic is all Florida State will need tonight. And if not, the Tar Heels will have their 3rd straight win over the Seminoles and 2nd straight in Tallahassee.
Oh, it's just a matter of being pushed, and FSU is getting its biggest challenge. You just have to sometimes learn to push back, and they haven't really had that this season yet. In every single game, They've been able to they've won the possession in terms of percentages and ball control. They haven't really been challenged by their back line, even in their midfield too much, to where they're really getting a sense of fear of having the ball being taken away from them. And then on the flip side, having the charge going back and scoring. It's just their biggest challenge of the season by far. UNC is the team they circle on their calendar, and they're getting everything they can, or everything they could have probably expected from the Tar Heels tonight.
North Carolina program with excellent pedigree and a name of who's in women's soccer. The likes of obviously Nia Hamm and Christine Lilly, but Heather O'Reilly, Crystal Dunn, Tobin Heath, Kat Whitehill. And we could probably have an entire broadcast on just how many names they've put into the professional ranks and into the U.S. senior national team level.
You could probably put UNC's all-time best players that have made pro and probably taken the best of the rest around the country who've made it, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a better squad. It'd be really difficult to find. UNC is just that much of a powerhouse.
And it's that man who's molded each and every one of them. 22-time national champion, Anson Dorrance. A member of the National Soccer Hall of Fame, inducted at the same time Bruce Arenas was, and that's good company to be in. Howell with the head, finds McFarland. Now Bergau. Bergau sends it into the middle of the box. It's deflected. 23 minutes and change left in Tallahassee.
Florida State finally had some room to work the ball down into that position, but once again didn't find the right pocket of space where they wanted to go with the ball. And UNC doing what they've done all night, fend off Florida State from a chance at the net. Not one shot of those 7 for Florida State has gone on net.
Kayla Edwards checking into the game. And Sydney Sproul does the same for North Carolina.
Poor pass.
This ball into the center. Russo has it. Wants it to her right foot. Bumped off the ball, and an excellent job. Malia Berkeley comes up huge for Florida State.
Russo shaken up, too.
Russo still on the ground. She slowly gets to her feet. Bollinger comes across to tend to her for just a moment and check on her.
Kuika comes from the right side and just puts a little bump towards the right, but I think it's Berkeley's slide tackle, and maybe even Bollinger on the backside here. Maybe in the back. It might be a leg, though, as well. Maybe she hyperextended the leg a little bit, but she seems to be okay. Maybe going for the right leg, I think, trying to walk it off.
Pinto does very well in the corner, right at the flag, and she earns a corner kick for North Carolina. Pinto was a member of the U20 World Cup team for the United States this summer in France. One of the best freshmen in college soccer. The highest ranked recruits. Middle of the box, Bollinger has to do well, and she grabs it.
Morgan Goff got ahead on that. One of the better corners we've seen from UNC in limited amounts tonight. It just goes to show how many chances and how many different ways they can score. A plethora of opportunities. Very creative.
Only the second save of the night for Bollinger, who hasn't been asked to do a whole heck of a lot, giving up that one goal to Rachel Jones, but not a lot of opportunities for the Heels tonight. Bollinger named ACC Co-Defensive Player of the Week this past week for a pair of shutouts against the Gators in South Alabama. North Carolina really congesting the middle of the field right now for Florida State, and the Noles are struggling to find an answer.
And you can just see a little bit, FSU has got a little bit of hints of doubt at times. They haven't been as committed. I think they've been a little bit cautious in how they want to attack.
Cuica tries to knock the ball ahead. It's taken away. To the feet of Patton. Now Cuica. Stops on a dime. Now Villalobos. Bergau. Now Patton. She sends it into the middle of the box. Cleared away. Berkeley does well to find Patton.
Very nice work along the touchline.
Patton. Now Bergau. Villalobos. Tillman. Patton retreats to Berkeley. Berkeley sends it to the middle of the box. Not a bad ball, headed up into the air. Villalobos, a whistle and a foul. Tillman called for cutting underneath.
And these are the kind of moments in the areas where you'd like to probably see a little bit of interplay or combo play amongst 2 or 3 players, but FSU really has so much skill that they depend on individuals a lot. We've seen that, obviously, and they've won. They've won with that, and they've been successful with that. But at points in this season, you wonder, though, if you can organize a little bit better collectively as a unit, working together, and they seem to be trying to look for that perfect look or that perfect pocket of space, perfect pass or cross individually, though. If they can work it together, things could open up for them naturally in a triangle formation of some sort where they work in a combo play.
Haven't seen a whole lot of Yuji Zhao and Dana Castellanos in the second half for Florida State. And those are 2 of the top players the Noles have in terms of creating their own chances. You have to imagine they'll both factor in at some point here in the rest of the game.
Gregorian probably saving them both at this point. Both are on the bench. Probably want to save them in case FSU cannot get that equalizing score to come through in the waning minutes.
Villalobos. Out wide now Patton. Making the overlapping run. She sends it into the middle of the box. It's a good one. Headed away, Julia Ashley.
A bit too strong. McFarland was veering in towards the center.
Now another opportunity headed away again.
Just went over her head.
North Carolina's come up huge time and time again. Florida State now starting to enjoy a little bit more possession than they had in the first half.
And they've had a lot more freedom. There's a lot more open spaces for Florida State to work, but it's just plays like that once again that UNC puts themselves in perfect position and flips the field.
Kimball one-on-one against Michaela Edwards.
Oh, beautiful job by Kimball.
Keeps her feet, continues.
Great balance.
Now a late run. It's Ashley finding back of the post, shot. Oh, that was just the opportunity.
Russo. You know she wants that goal. She really is looking for it. They've gone to her a couple of times.
Number 7, Dallas Dorsey.
Just missed the mark left.
Dorsey comes in for McFarland. But if you're Alessia Russo, you have got to find a way, I think, to put that ball in the back of the net. That is as clean of an opportunity as you're going to find. No defenders within yards. And I think Russo just was surprised at how open she was and shanked it.
Yeah, had the opportunity to really put this game potentially on ice. Set it in stone with a 2-goal lead.
Dorian Bailey into the ball game for UNC now. Villalobos, now Edwards. Pavlisko. Looking for Dorsey up ahead. Dorsey cuts back, Ashley there. Wubin Moy. Now Patton cuts it off. Top of the 18, her shot blocked. Excellent tackle from Edwards. Things starting to opening up for both teams. It's Villalobos.
Nice
beautiful
flick.
piece of skill.
Excellent flick to control.
Bergau. Kimball comes up huge as she stiffs her.
Just a beautiful job of awareness by Florida State, especially Anna Patton, for keeping possession in the attacking half. Beautiful footwork by Villalobos.
Middle of the box.
And Villalobos had an amazing cross Don't know if we caught that, but it was a cross, an amazing diving stop by Leshnak. Certainly the biggest piece of athleticism we've seen out of her tonight. As we're going to see it here, Villalobos gets free towards the end line, crosses. Leshnak comes out of the box trying to punch it out and does a beautiful job of it too. Perhaps Dallas Dorsey in the center there, keeping her from a header opportunity. But Florida State certainly putting the pressure on now. I think they've really gotten the chance to really open things up, play a little longer. UNC, though, still holding strong.
Tar Heels have forced Florida State to speed the process up a little bit, and the Noles have not handled it well. Russo drives a shot well wide of the net.
Yeah, didn't get the bend that she would have wanted. Just a straight shot, far post, way out wide.
10 shots for Carolina, 8 for Florida State. Seminoles just 2 shots here in the second half, as Jones comes back in for Kimball. Not a lot of quality opportunities for Florida State. Kuika heads it back. Bollinger races to grab it. Under 14 to go. Florida State's running out of time. 1-0 Carolina. A mirror of last year in Tallahassee when the Tar Heels scored a goal and were able to hold on to snap a 36-game unbeaten streak for the Seminoles here at the Seminole Soccer Complex. North Carolina, it would be their first road win of the season. And a building block for Carolina. Wooten Moy drives it upfield. Andrzejewski gets ahead on it. And in the end, the ball goes out for a Seminole throw-in. And a slew of substitutions coming for Florida State.
Well, we were wondering about Zhao and Castellanos. Here they come.
Along with Jalen Howell and Casey Tillman.
Well, it's interesting they have Zhao right now positioned right with McFarland.
This is Florida State's last stand, you have to think. 12 minutes to go. And at what point do you abandon the possession style game and know that that's not happening tonight and just try and start sending long balls?
I think that probably ended when UNC went up 1 goal. Here's a shot. It's again Russo. As we've detailed, she can strike from long distance, tried to prove it there, just way too much air. But yeah, Florida State's going to have to go on the attack, and you really have to put everything you can into putting together a run that works best. Whether that be long ball, whether that's working up the flanks a little bit, but UNC's done a nice job in that regard. You really haven't seen FSU work up the wings. And they're spread out wide to begin with that formation of theirs. Something FSU I don't think is really used to, at least not this season anyway.
Pinto loses the ball out. Florida State throw-in. Carl weaving her way through the Carolina defense, trying to take her team on one-on-one. It's a corner for Florida State, set piece opportunity. This is one of the areas of soccer in which, not to make it a play on words, but you can equalize.
Well, with Dana Castellanos taking it, I mean, she has been extremely accurate. Well, I don't believe a corner has gone in for her this season. Boy, she's been putting it right in the right spot.
Castellanos bends it in. Leshnak, how about that? Strong hands from the senior.
Howell and McFarland trying to go up for it. Once again, Castellanos putting it in a dangerous spot. But Leshnak, the senior, very aware, very savvy, and aggressive to come down with that ball.
Carl does well in tight space to earn a a throw-in.
What a win by Pinto.
Now Pinto, 1-on-2. Jones giving her a diagonal run. Spins, gets it to her right foot. It's blocked. Berkeley clears. And Zhao needs to do the same and does.
And Jones showing some skill right there with a couple of jukes.
And Fox goes down, and I think Nick Balser fell for it. Not much contact there, but Fox able to draw a free kick.
Looked like it was Tillman trying and challenging for the ball.
There is nothing there. That is not a foul.
Fox losing her balance as Tillman was trying to...
Little Neymar action
there. Yep.
Savvy play by the senior Emily Fox leads to a North Carolina set-piece opportunity. Offside called, and it'll go Florida State's way.
Nice job by Jalen Howell, though, getting in position to interrupt that cross. But time is of the essence now. With under 9 to go, FSU cannot waste a moment of time as we have to bring it back. Trying to get a fast start.
Berkeley drives the ball up the field. McFarland not able to get there.
And McFarland not known for her speed. I mean, you're going to have to put, if you're going to go to McFarland, you're going to probably have to give it to her right on point and let her try and work the ball, make a quick cut, turn, and shoot.
Leshnak powers the ball upfield. Howell. Now Patton and Pinto battling for it. Excellent job by the heels. Fox finds some space on the left side. Carries it forward near the 18. Across Bollinger. Sturdy with it. Now looks to distribute and spark a Florida State counter.
Yeah, good outlet into the right person as well. Dana Castellanos. And a poor pass, though.
Florida State, they just seem so uncomfortable when it's not been enjoying all the possession in the attacking third. Florida State is something I'm sure Mark Krikorian will work on in the middle of the week. But tonight, Carolina has taken Florida State out of their comfort zone, and Florida State, quite frankly, up until this point, has just not responded.
No, only 1 or 2 shots in this second half compared to the 6 or 7 they had in the first. And while I think FSU's moved the ball a little bit better than they did in these last 45 minutes, they just haven't been able to put a lot of chances on net. They had a few good ones earlier on in this match.
Berkeley, middle of the box. Zhao going up for it. It's headed up. Carolina again clears. Now Castellanos. Kuika racing onto it. Does well to knock it forward to herself. And Goff there. Now McFarland. A sea of blue around her. Villalobos. Finds Castellanos.
Put that ball a little bit further up as be a throw-in for UNC. Villalobos feeds Castellanos a little more up towards the box. Maybe she can tee one up and shoot it, drive it, because we know Castellanos can score from distance as well. And it may take something like that at this point. UNC may lay back a little bit. They've done an excellent job thus far. If you can find maybe a slight open space a little bit further past the 18, maybe that's what you can find and come away with.
Howell, her pass too heavy. Now Kuika. Can Florida State find an answer? The equalizer here as we approach 5 minutes to go. 5 and change. Berkeley wants to carry it up the field herself. And then jukes herself out.
Goes off that left heel. Not what she wanted. FSU will have to hit the reset button.
Florida State, since 2011, 83-4. Just 3 losses in Tallahassee since 2011. North Carolina threatening to make it a 4th. A 9-match unbeaten streak so far for the Seminoles here this season. They're running out of time. Zhao to Tillman. Tillman surveys and now finds Howell. Castellanos. Pavlisco. McFarland. This is better from Florida State. Chipped up, Leshnak there.
A nice floater by Villalobos to allow Tillman to break free a little bit, but just too squared, too easy for Leshnak. And I must say, this is by far one of Yuji Zhao's more quieter games this season. We really have not seen her with the ball at all. I think UNC has done an amazing job keeping her away from the ball possession and having a big impact on this match.
Now Jones. As it stands, she will have the game winner. Jones shoved in the back. And a no call.
Strong challenge by Kuika.
Boy,
really,
Kuika, the senior.
Really driving that left shoulder against Jones.
Berkeley up ahead. Tillman. Off the top of her head. Leshnak again there.
And now UNC will probably milk the clock a bit.
3.5. Under 3.5 now.
They'll certainly find an opportunity back on the attack if they can see one. But the name of the game for them, at least at this point, is keep away.
Patton. Up ahead to Tillman, and she just doesn't have the pace to get to it.
Yeah, you could tell, look on her face.
She is gassed.
She was frustrated. That ball was way out of her reach. Did not like it.
Florida State's put in a lot of work here today, but they've come up empty so far. Tillman showing signs of fatigue, as is the rest of the Seminole roster. Pinto to the corner flag.
You can see Berkeley, Kuika, they've been running all night long too.
Other than the one goal by Rachel Jones, neither team has really had a whole lot of opportunities in this. Excellent job so far by both teams' defenses to sniff out opportunities. And again, it's been one moment of brilliance so far tonight, and that's all you need in these ACC games against top-level competition. You need just that one spark.
That one little opening in the wall that you can find and just take a shot at. That could be the resonating punch, the resonating moment that comes away with victory in soccer. And UNC took advantage of it with about 2 minutes left. Florida State looking for theirs.
Zhao looking for some help, finds McFarland. McFarland touches and turns, now Howell. Howell wants Patton. It's to her feet. Patton tries to put a move on Fox. Fox does well.
Fox just too quick, living up to her last name.
And now she puts on the Jets, and Kuika there to take it away. Kuika, middle of the box. Leshnak skies and grabs. And to the turf she goes as she will try and kill some time. 1.5 left.
Knowles bringing up McFarland, Powell, or Carl, I should say, and Castellanos. But none of them had a chance. Leshnak, beautiful job all night long, especially here in this second half.
Zhao again slips it beautifully to Villalobos. 1 minute to go.
Maybe their last chance. Yeah, just a lot of indecision by Florida State.
And again, nobody for Florida State able to bring the ball down as we are 40 seconds away.
In fact, I think Zhao and McFarland were almost fighting for themselves for the ball on that opportunity to head one in.
Leshnak will just blast it forward. Berkeley now under 30 seconds.
Got to hit a long ball here.
The Tar Heels have won 2 in a row against Florida State, looking to make it 3. Florida State oh so good in Tallahassee. Undefeated so far this year, but in trouble as Tillman sends the ball into the box. Waiting moments, back post, into the air it goes, Leshnak there, and that will do it. North Carolina, Anson Dorrance and the Heels have stormed into Tallahassee and taken a 1-0 win over Florida State. What a feather in the cap for the Heels' resume. The NCAA RPI, number 6, North Carolina 1, Florida State 0. The first loss of the year for Florida State and Mark Krikorian. The Heels moved to 6-2-1 on the year. Now 1-0 in the ACC. Florida State 7-1-1. Now 0-1 in the ACC. Dorrance has gotten the upper hand now on Krikorian in the last 3 matchups, but you have a feeling these teams are going to see each other again this season.
Yeah, you can imagine that. They're very, equally in terms of talent. They're so smart. They're so dynamic. So UNC gets the victory tonight. Very well earned, but certainly Florida State, I think, will learn from this and really make a chance and really do a nice job of charging back and putting together more quality matches.
So for Trevor DeGroat, I'm Mario Masudi saying so long from Tallahassee, where North Carolina defeats Florida State 1-0. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live on the ESPN app. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games in our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN.